Hi everyone, welcome to the first in series 2 of BTC's bite-sized learning videos, and today we are going to cover templates and cheat sheets. So what we're going to look at in this video, we are going to look at what is the difference between a template and a cheat sheet, what is the benefit of having access to this sort of resource, and also how to craft a class to introduce a template or a cheat sheet. So what's the difference between a template and a cheat sheet? The main one is that a template traditionally has a defined structure for use, which you can then build on or build from. This would be for correspondence, it's literally just the format of a letter, how you have the address in the top right hand corner, the introduction phrase, the structure of how you might break down the information presented in it. However, as it's just the structure, the content can be changed completely. So it doesn't matter what the letter's about, but the structure is always the same. The format is always the same. Hence why it's pre-made for a specific purpose. So this might be a report, or this may be a reference letter, or a complaint email, or a scheduling email, something like this. It's always the same purpose. It will always have the same structures for that purpose. It can be copied or changed or used as a reference. So if you have a very good email template for formal writing and you give that to someone, or a very good template for a report, then they can copy paste and then change the specific details, or they can just refer to it. So that's a really nice resource to have. And also, so it's for use with a relatively fixed outcome. So by that we mean we know what they are aiming to achieve with this, and with that they will be able to use that template to get that outcome. A cheat sheet is different in that it will contain examples of the form and purpose of a language. So it's more of a reminder. The reason that cheat sheets are helpful is because it's passive learning, and it's the same with template, and we'll talk about this in the benefits. But yeah, so you'll basically have, like, say for conditionals, it will show the structure of a conditional. It will show the different structures for different conditionals and the different contexts you might use those. It's not for use in class, it's for use outside of the classroom. It's a learning aid, and this is for the student to use whenever they want to use it. Maybe they're writing an email to someone, maybe they're writing a text message and they want to just be 100% sure that they're saying the right thing, or maybe they're having a meeting and they're not sure how to word it, and they can quickly look at the cheat sheet for what they're doing, and they can use that to help them clarify in their communication what they're trying to say. So these are very good support tasks. Okay, so what are the benefits to using these resources? The first one's the main one, and it gives the learner a correct example of the language required for various contexts. It's really, honestly, the whole thing with template and cheat sheets is great because it's very, very simple. They give a student some sort of like concrete confidence in, this is what I need to use, this is how I need to use it, this is where I can use it. And having that in anything, whether it's language or whether it's, a kind of defined set of rules and laws that you can stick to, is quite comforting. Obviously, there are always exceptions, but in most cases, especially when it comes to what you might be creating templates for, they're not really relevant. So, or you can make a note of them, highlight them in a different color. It doesn't really matter. It targets a need for the learner. So again, it's usually something specific, and something they would do regularly and multiple times. So if they have that, they would be able to use that in a way that benefits them directly, because they can target that need. They can feel like they're getting something out of it. It's just helping them. Encourages learning in the flow of work. This is a key one. This is something that we need to start becoming far more aware of as language teachers for professionals. Learning in the flow of work is a key part of modern learning and development and experience design. in that we need to make sure that they are using or able to use the language that we are teaching them outside of a classroom as best as possible. And if that means they have to refer to a template or they refer to a cheat sheet to get that passive learning, to get that absorption, that's critical. Because rote learning in terms of repetition, in terms of things, it's all great in the classroom, but they don't do it outside of the classroom. And we need to become more aware of that and accept that. So having something that benefits them, they can refer to at work without kind of like hindering their day without going through books and stuff. They just have a nice, like either digital file or whatever. It's really helpful, and they will benefit from it. I promise that. Yeah, so and because of that, it will be remembered over time. Say, for example, I'll give you an example of like your favorite recipe. Yeah, so first of all, you're not 100% sure how to make something, so you look up the recipe, and you follow it, and it works really, really well. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again. You keep using the recipe, but over time, you get more and more confident about what you need, and to the point where you become, maybe you adjust it for your own personal purposes. Maybe you add some extra spices, something like that. But after a while, that is like concrete set in your mind. It's the same with this. It's the same with a cheat sheet. It's the same with a template. It doesn't matter. These are very, very powerful tools, and they're very useful tools, and the students will really come to appreciate them over time. It's not a short term. It's a short term fix for a long term benefit, but they will see that benefit. They really will. And yeah, it makes life easier for them. Again, it's all about rapport, connection with students, all that kind of stuff. These things do show that you care because you've gone through the effort of giving them a tool that is genuinely very helpful. And in terms of the structure of the template, it's up to you, really. I mean, there's tons of resources online. I'd recommend looking it up. It's important that you develop your own templates. There is no like one that I would recommend. Even my own ones probably could be tweaked slightly to be better. But if you have concerns that they will ask you a lot of questions, you can always include an FAQ section at the end of it so that they can go and have a look and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable in that. So, crafting a class. I always say that if you ever want to use a template or a cheat sheet in a class, always confirm with your students first before. I mean, you can have everything ready prior to this bit, but it's always very beneficial to make sure that your students know what they're going to do next lesson so they can turn up and be prepared for it. Because it's a very helpful tool and they will be really excited about it. So you can come in and go, hey, would you like a template for how to write an email? And they're like, of course, yes, please, that would be great. Okay, great. Okay, we'll do that in the next lesson. So if you haven't, and this is the whole reason also why we take feedback from students, you get to know where they feel weak. It's the whole reflection thing. We'll talk about that later, but I say later in another training video. So taking feedback is really important in discussions so you can see where they feel like they need strengthening. So in terms of, that's how you identify knowing that you need to use a cheat sheet or a template. Creating one, basically, yeah, you look at the common trends of email structures, of formality, of functional language, all that kind of stuff, depending on the target area you want to go into to make either a cheat sheet or a template. You can also create a multi-use template. So you can have, let's say, for example, 3 different colors defined in email correspondence denoting familiarity. Yeah, so you have a formal one, you have an informal one, and you have a semi-formal one, and each one's a different color. And it can be in the same text, basically. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's clear to read, that's the main thing. Okay, so you've got your template, you've got your cheat sheet, you're very happy. They are easy to use, and you're content with that. So you start the class with a clearly defined contextual topic. Yeah, obviously you pre-discussed it with them, so they kind of know what you're going to do. The key now is to elicit, right? So you elicit from them as much information as possible to help build their idealized version of a template using the group or the student, if you're teaching a one-to-one class, their combined knowledge. Yeah, so their experience in sending emails, how they send emails in L1, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so the structure is going to be defined by that. So your role in this isn't so much input. yeah, you might guide it a little bit with input, but your role is very much eliciting them the structure. Obviously, you can kind of correct here and there, but that's the point. After that, you get them to produce the content for themselves, and from there you build tasks, or you introduce tasks, you get them to complete tasks, all that kind of stuff. Then, once they have finished the lesson, at the end of a lesson, you can provide the students with your own template, because it will be very similar, or if not the same as the one they've created in the class. Obviously, it's a bit more professional. It's more overworked, not overworked, but more worked too, all that kind of stuff. And you can give it to them, or the template, or the cheat sheet as well. Sorry, and it can either be a digital file that you can send to the group chat, or physical document, something that they can refer to in with their hands. In that case, this is like the key part. They'll really appreciate that, because it shows that obviously you had a clear plan when you came into the lesson. If they want to write down stuff during the lesson, of course they can, but at the end of it, they have a nice document that they can refer to really easily, which will really help them. So with that, thanks ever so much for watching the video. As always, please complete the attached reflection element in the Google form. And honestly, guys, we we understand how much time it takes to prepare lessons and stuff. And by creating a series of templates and cheat sheets, you will have a resource that you can use over and over and over again, and you will benefit your learners in ways that honestly, I think you'll be surprised by how effective they can be, as long as they understand the importance of them. So I really hope this is beneficial for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole thing, so let me know, and I'll see you next week with the next video. So take care and good luck.